quick one, really, 20 minutes. Just a quick update. So I've been basically doing a bit of extra research and that stuff, and I ended up doing the following. So I ended up kind of realizing that what I should have is, if the internet will just work well. So two different contracts, right? So we were, again, just to briefly recap, what we're trying to do here, we're trying to play with the idea of, can we turn raw recordings of someone's problem solving and thinking into something of an NFT, and then kind of basically reward the person uploading this kind of stuff into the blockchain with some custom coin like ANSYS coin or something like that, which would over time provide value. And then the idea is to kind of encourage people and research, especially, or whoever really just wanted to kind of dump their raw thinking, right? So let's put it this way. It's really interesting because we kind of have so you have all these internet data that is being used, like text data that is being used because it's available cheaply and it's being used to train language models, right? So the underlying idea here is like to have like thinking data, right? Like it's like how do we just how do we raw think about problems and problem solve and do research and stuff like that, whatever it is, really. I don't think the topic matters here. I'm doing quantum mechanics especially and mathematics kind of stuff, but it doesn't really have to be like that only. And so kind of make that ready available for the machines to learn from. Anyway, the idea is to kind of like try to come up with a way to do that, to incentivize people to upload this kind of content on IPFS, the interplanetary file system, and then be it video. The thing is, I think video or voice is really what we're looking at, what we're aiming at, and the reason being that it's kind of text is a bit of a delayed interface, right, or output, because you're thinking and curating, and so that does not necessarily reflect the thinking process. It's more of, if you think about text, it's like it's kind of already been filtered out a lot, so you want to kind of have that spontaneous, like that kind of runners to the thinking process, and with all the ums and ums and things like these, right? That's kind of what makes us, I think, human, what we think about stuff, and not just information, whatever we're like typing in, as in like describing things or solving problems. So because essentially that is when things click. That is how that captures the closest thing. It's the closest thing possible to like just kind of the neural signals that you probably capture with a neural link or something like that. Anyway, another intro. So the idea is kind of, I was thinking about how to do this, right? So I searched on a bit about the standards, and I came across the ERC 721, which is the NFT standard contract, and this is really I kind of copy pasted in here. It's very simple. So it's a contract that almost kind of looks like, and I copy pasted that from Open Zeppelin, which seems to be the most reliable source for this kind of stuff, or at least it's even linked within the Ethereum official web pages. And so the idea is you kind of have that contract that you can basically, you treat the NFTs as sort of non-fungible currency. So it's like you have an natural number amount of something, and then you have some URIs and base URIs that you can, it's like in terms of where the thing is, and stuff like that. And the idea is whenever, and this is all standard and well-proofed code. So it's very simple, crude stuff. Create, read, update, and delete. It's kind of like very basic stuff. The same with the coin here. So this is the ERC20 standard, and it's like name, symbol, blah blah blah. So you have like the currency, and you have a total supply, You can transfer stuff, you can allow others to spend on your behalf, and there's a bunch of like things that belong to, you know, to that kind of standard, which is fine. It's all implemented in here. And then I think what we're interested is in this underscore mean internal function, because the idea is what we now need to do is that's what I want to look for today, is like how can the two contracts communicate ideally. So the process will be you know, I have a video, right, like this one here. So let me open up IPFS. So I just tested it with yeah, great, I was connecting. So I tested it with one video. So I have this file, I uploaded it to the network. It's called Making Money with Raw Research. That's the actual video from last day, I think. So this thing is, I think, now spread across like 4 nodes, if I understand that correctly. I don't know, but basically that's the thing, right? So it's the video, it's an hour video, and so
telling the system.
Yeah.
Also known as super.
And so ideally what I want to do is I want to kind of take the link here. The way I imagine that is like copy the link or share the link or copy even the CID, I don't know, whatever it is, but basically copy that and kind of use these in a some kind of like a web interface or something, and then basically mint an NFT out of that, right? And say that's this video, and it's a unique non-fungible experience. And then what I was thinking is, okay, so ideally that gets there, that it gets somehow verified that it's not like a cat video or something like that. And then the NFT would basically, the NFT contract would actually issue the NFT, assign it to you, and then ideally what it would do is also give you some coins as rewards for having done so. Kind of. That's the initial idea, right? Now the challenge is, okay, first how do we get the two to communicate? How do you do that? I don't know. And then the second one would be, how do we ensure, that's more of a sort of a design concept or design problem, which is how do we ensure that we're not uploading cat videos, and you'll probably want to have something like a mechanism where like 3 other people need to review the video and basically confirm to the smart contract, and then they get extra extra coins for that, right? In a way that kind of mimics maybe the reviewer 1, 2, and 3 from like peer review, although that's definitely not necessarily like full-blown papers, right? Like that's not the idea. The idea is not to put the papers in there, but to actually have the raw thinking. But we need just like that kind of, okay, that's not a damn cat kind of thing. And so we need other humans to validate these things, and we don't want them to be evil. So maybe the thing is, you kind of have to do something where the reviewers have a bit of extra skin in the game, where they have to stake in some of the coin. If later on, to be a validator, you have to stake in some coins, and then you're making money out of these. But then if at some point we figure out that a video that is supposed to be rejected was accepted because it was a cat video and someone was maliciously accepting it, then we just take that chunk out. Maybe that's kind of probably the best. It's in a way similar to proof of, is it proof of value? Proof of, proof of, it's not proof of work, it's proof of stake, I think it is. That's the thing, right? Which is basically you need to stake 32 ETH to become a validator, exactly. And then you're choosing a random okay, yeah, so that's what we do probably. And so you want to incentivize good validated behavior, otherwise we just steal your money. Cool. So how do we do this? So first things first, we need to maybe I will just do a to-dos text file or something. And so first is like, so how can we get the contracts to talk to each other? So we need the NFT contract to mint ANSYS coins. And transfer them to the owner of the mint. I mean, it's not transfer them. It's like book them until validated, right? So you don't want to give the person the coins right away. And then basically implement validation mechanism mechanics as proof of what did I say? Proof of stake in the NFT contract. What else do we need to do? And that's it, really. I think the coin contract, it should be very simple. Nobody should really be able to mint any coins other than the actual NFT contract, right? Giving the rewards. So yeah, kind of in a way I'm thinking like, why wouldn't we just merge the two contracts and have one contract? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. That's a valid question, right? Can't we just, I guess if you want the standards, if you want to keep the standards, we'll just keep things separate, because it makes it easy to validate and audit and stuff like that. So okay, the first things first, Solidity contract to contract communication, or how to, yep. Okay, so what do we have here? So interact with other contracts from Solidity. And some features to it, like control access, error handling, blah blah. We'll make a contract that enables anyone to have his own counter smart contract by creating a factory for it. Its name will be Counter Factory. First, here's the code of our initial counter smart contract. So so it probably works by like having the address of that. I will probably have to create the contract within the contract or something like that. And the address of the contract owner. When you call a contract code from another contract, the message sender will be referred as the address of our contract factory. This is a really important point to understand. As this is a contract to interact with other contracts, this is a common practice. You should therefore take care of who is the sender in complex cases. For this, we also added an only factory modifier that makes sure that the state changing functions can only be called by the factory that will pass the original caller as a parameter. Okay, so that's a bit of a different use case. So I think the so there's a contract that manages counters. Create counter. Okay, so what this does is a new counter for someone will look like these. Okay, so it's creating the counter. Know that if I call too many times, I can't. Here's the full code. So we have a contract counter that has so the counter needs to know the factory address. Okay, yeah, but that's easy because I guess that's what you're doing is create counter. how is this assigned? I mean, okay, so basically you have a counter factory that is basically, it actually has links to multiple counters, which are other contracts. But they are created like that. So this counter factory creates contracts. Counter 0, create counter. New counter. Here there's a constructor. Okay. I mean, that's interesting, right? Because I guess the constructor is not influenced by the modifiers, because in theory, whoever creates the counter then will be the person that will be able to actually access the counter, in theory, at least the way that this is done here, right? So I guess what we have to do is the NFT contract creates the coin contract. Because I think there was this kind of like idea of NFT staking protocol. And I think that's the idea. Whatever. That's probably the way it's done. Coinbox, no. Okay. So it's just creating multiple instances of that contract. And then when you have the counter, can you, yeah, you can then just get count. So you can just, you then can just call functions. It's like a class. So you can just count functions like mint and stuff like that. Yeah. What are you making me? What is these? Didn't mean me. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to. It's really my first Web3 project, and the reason I'm doing this is because I've been working on a lot of. So I'm basically what I'm doing is live research, right? So I'm kind of. I'm kind of researching and working on a topic, trying to solve problems like, for example, things like I have here a link to a quantum mechanics exercise book that I'm working through, and so I'm doing videos trying to solve these issues, these problems live, and then recording the raw thinking process. So what I'm building is I'm building sort of a very basic setup where I want to be able to take the videos, the recordings of these videos, upload them in IPFS, right? And then mint them as NFTs. So basically sort of mint the whole learning or research session as an NFT, and then get sort of coins in as a reward as well for just having minted that as an NFT, to encourage other people to do that, right? To encourage researchers and other people to upload like raw thinking material. Ideally, ultimately, the goal would be to kind of generate a lot of these raw material, right, of like videos and voice, or also text, but preferably voice and video, of people kind of thinking through problems without actually preparing, right? So trying to solve a problem, trying to research, learn something new in the sort of the most raw form possible. Directly straight of your head, no preparation, just jumping into it. So I don't know if that was clear. It's something very, very, very niche. So I'm doing it for the machine in a way. Basically, goal would be to see if this is something that can be used later later to kind of train AIs in terms of think and stuff like that. So thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things where if you take a look at existing machine learning methods and stuff like that, they train AIs like language models on internet text, right? But that's ultimately, text is quite processed, even Wikipedia stuff, right? Especially Wikipedia stuff, but also what you find on the internet. Like even people just tweeting stuff, like you think twice before you send out a tweet. And so it ultimately does not really reflect our real thinking process. So, that's kind of the idea, to generate that body of data. And it's something I've been doing for a while now, for like about 3 years, where I'm doing my own research and stuff like that. It's all on YouTube, also on Twitch, and then I export to YouTube. But then I thought, well, it would be cool if other people do that as well, right? So that would be a sort of an attempt to try and encourage people to do that, is kind of get coins as a reward. And then I guess what we'll have to do, and I'll be finishing now, because this was really, I don't have much time, so it was just like a 20-25 minutes kind of quick check in on the project. But the idea is, kind of get the constructs to talk to each other, which I did a quick research now on. And then basically implement the validation mechanics, and so kind of how to make sure that people don't upload cat videos, right? Instead of just actual raw research videos. So you get people to become validators by staking ETH or something like that, and then get them to approve these videos. And if we catch them, then we just take the stake. So there's a bit of skin in the game. It's essentially proof of stake. So it's the same thing for the Ethereum 2 protocol, ideally, but that's going to be a bit more complicated to implement, I guess. That's it, really. I guess what this means is that, in a way, the constructor here will probably have to kind of create the ANSYS coin contract, and then what we'll have is I think there's a mint, there's got to be like a mint, safe mint. I don't know, I haven't really read all there's this mint thing here, but this is an internal method. What is the actual public method for that? Anyway, somewhere here, this mint what it should do is, of course, it creates the thing, it gives it the token, ownership, and then I don't know if it should be here, but ideally it's like rewards owner with ANSYS coins. So that kind of essentially calls the mint function from the coin contract. I think that's what we'll have to implement. We'll see. Anyway, gotta jump to the next thing. I'm really gonna try to push this project a bit faster than the other stuff that I've been trying to do. I just can't wait to try it. So, myself. Cool. Yep. I'll try to do actually, it's coding, right? It's not like, this is not rocket science. So I will try to do stuff off stream as well to boost it up a little bit. But then I'll try to catch you guys up as I develop things here. But so far it's just the pretty standard ERC-721 and ERC-20 things, sort of the NFT and the actual token standard contracts. Cool. See you next time.